You guys are gonna be able to make that bigger for us? You need these?
I'll take those snips.
These guys?
Yep.
All right. Do you want that there, or are you okay with that?
I'm gonna put it down here.
All right. Cool.
We're back.
The bright lights of the mud hole basement. We are here. Hunter McCamey's with me.
Some decorative wraps. I'm gonna do a demo on cross wraps, butt wraps.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I know you're gonna do, what's the big demo you're gonna be doing?
So I am going to, the big demo is going to be a tiger wrap.
Nice.
I've got it set up in a couple different steps because, as you know, tiger wraps do take some laying of thread, some finish, some laying of thread, things like that. So we're going to show those kind of step by step. Got a couple options. And then also you're going to do
Trim bands.
You're going to do trim bands.
I'm going to do a simple nail knot trim band, and then I'm going to toss it over to you, and you're going to do like a single
I'm going to do a single inlay and maybe even show you how to go and get started on an olive branch option. So we're going to do, all right, we got everybody filtered in. We're doing tips and tricks. You want to get this started?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
All right, we're back.
We're back. Big show tonight.
Big show. So those that are still filtering in, we were talking a minute ago, we're going to be doing wrapping, tips and tricks, some trim bands. We're going to be doing tiger wrap. You're going to be doing a butt wrap. Go over to the new page. So we have a group per se. It's called, what is it? Mud Hole
Lives.
Rod Builders
Workshop.
Okay, so Mud Hole Lives, Rod Builders Workshop. That, you can find that link on the Mud Hole Facebook page. What that's going to be is that's going to be an area where we're going to catalog the show. So all of the shows after we tape them, they're going to go over to that page. We've also been interacting with a lot of you that have found that page already. It was in the email, of course. So the emails that you get throughout the week from us. So if you're over there, that's a great place to talk about the show before it happens, talk about the show after it happens, ask questions, post photos, all that stuff. It's going to be more of an interactive with your fellow rod builders as with me and Guffey and Taylor and Bob and Hunter, and we're all going to be in there. So not only are we going to interact as Mud Hole, but we're also going to interact as ourselves.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. You'll get a kind of each one of our own little flair on it. Plus you'll get official answers from the Mud Hole crew to all of your rod building questions. So we got all that out of the way. What are we going to start with?
Well, first off, we got to talk about a brand new line of thread that we just happened to introduce pretty much this week.
Yep.
Fishhawk thread.
Right.
It's been a staple in rod building for quite some time.
Yeah.
Not
a new name.
Not a new name whatsoever.
Right.
But now Mud Hole is officially carrying Fishhawk products. Yep. So, anything from the metallic. We've got a cool kaleidoscope. It's like a holographic metallic we're going to show in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Nylon, plenty of options, and another showcase of thread that we can provide with you guys.
For sure, because you gotta have thread, and of course for those creative types that like to get decorative, which is kind of going to reach out to you on this show, that's just going to continue to open the door for new options.
Yep.
Get that creative juices flowing for the custom rod build.
So what do you say? Want to jump into one?
Dive right in.
So to start off, we're going to keep it really simple. But we get this question a lot, trim bands.
Okay.
They're so simple and easy, but there's certain ways to do them, easier than others. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys using one of the new Fishhawk products that we have. This is the kaleidoscope thread.
It's wild because it almost feels like tape.
It is.
Like floss.
It's really, really thin, I did pick this really nice blue color to show off for you guys. It's very, very thin, but man, it really pops. Especially if you get this stuff out in the sun.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's gorgeous thread. So what we're gonna do is just a simple, it's a basic nail knot trim band. And you know, you guys, I'm sure if you've been fishing before or just in like, you know, everyday stuff, a nail knot's a super easy knot to tie.
Yeah.
So for a trim band, as you can see, I've pulled off quite a bit of threads here so I can work with, you know, at least probably, I'd say 3 or 4 foot. Let's go ahead and, yeah, we'll use our little CRB snippers here.
Yeah, I was
Go
just
ahead and
getting it
cut
out of
that.
the way for you. Cool.
All right, guys, we're good on close up here. So what I'm gonna do is, and obviously I am working the opposite of what you see here. I'm gonna try to explain this pretty easily. What I'm gonna do in my left hand is I'm gonna take the tag in with about, you know, 4 or 5 inches. I'm gonna pinch that between my thumb and my pointer finger. After that, now the number of wraps or the number of times that you go over and under the blank can vary. You can do it as little as 2 or 3 times,
Yep.
or you can do it up to 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Sure.
And that's going to determine the thickness or the width of your trim band. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to simply take my other tag in, the longer end. I'm going to go over the blank, right? I'm going to come under with my right hand. I'm going to wrap it, and then when I go around, I'm going to my left of the first pass I made. You don't have to worry about, you know, using too much or too little. You want to make sure you have enough to work with.
Well, yeah, because you know you don't want to run out, and you're trying to maybe pinch that last 1 inch of thread to get it to work. That's really going to cause a headache for
Yeah.
you, right?
So I'm going to stop right there and show you guys. I've done 3, you know, pretty much over, underneath, and back over and over again. That's got 3 small little bands on the rod blank, right? And I'm keeping constant tension between my thumb and my pointer finger as I do this. And I'm working right to left, so it will be backwards for you guys, just remember that. So for this, since it is a very thin metallic, I'm gonna do about, we'll say, 6 turns. And each time as I go over and under, I'm just gonna pinch it between my fingers each time. And so to seal this off, what I'm gonna do is, try to get up here so you guys can see, I'm actually going to twist it this way, and what you'll notice is this, it opens up right here with all your threads, you know, right in the middle. You take your tag in, and find it real quick.
Mm-hmm. You want to trim that?
Okay, I'll get it. Yeah, if you want to, give me a little trim.
You want to here?
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to take my tag in. I'm just going to put it right between that opening, maybe.
So we've got picture
Maybe.
in picture tonight, huh? Always evolving here.
Right.
Always evolving.
And after it goes in there, I'm just going to let everything go. I know you guys are going to freak out. You're like, oh my gosh, what happened? But what you can do is, after you let everything go, these will actually cinch down together. Just like that. It weighs. Just like that. Almost at an angle from each other. And after you've done that, all you gotta do is go in, trim off each end, and you're good to go. What I like to do is use a really sharp razor blade.
Yep.
And just simply dink, dink, and you're done, just like that.
That's fantastic. Cool. And of course, you know, you've got the kaleidoscope, you've got, you know, all the different pro wrap materials. You know, I mean, in reality, all you're doing is creating a nail knot, right?
Yeah.
So technically you could probably do it with braid if you really wanted to.
You could do it with any thread.
You know, any thread, there's kind of no limitations there, so that's a great option. The nail knot is a great option. You know, rather than using the hand wrapper for that, I think, because I use the nail knot for certain things, and I think where the nail knot excels is when you're just doing like 3 turns.
Right.
You know, now, you know, you can lay down a trim band that's 6 or 7 bands long, because there's a time where it gets to a point where, like, well, the nail knot, if you're trying to do 12 turns of a trim band, that's excessive. You know, that's going to be hard to handle in the nail knot. But on the hand wrapper, you're good. So you kind of walk that line of, as you go through, you know, you could technically kind of pre-cut sections, tape them to your desk, wrap a guide, grab a section, nail knot, trim band, boom, and move on.
Right.
So, you know, you won't have to keep switching colors, especially if you're just doing short trim bands.
Yeah, if you're doing
So-
2 or 3, like you said, 2, 3, 4 wraps, it's perfect. You can do the longer ones. But yeah, it's just a simple little accent that you can, you know, do in white, gold, you know, or, you know, silver and gold, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Just accents whatever thread wrap you have.
Perfect. Cool. Good, good, good.
What do you got for us?
I am going to do a couple different things here real quick. So I'll show you kind of what we're looking at. Jay, can you see that button? So this here is a couple different things rolled into one, right? So we've got a double line of a trim band. We have what most people call an olive branch here in the middle, which is technically just the twisting around of an accent thread over your standing wrap. Again, there's a lot going on there, but we're going to walk through each one of those steps to kind of go from there. Are we in close? Head in here. Now keep in mind, you know, Hunter did the metallic. So the metallic does not take any color fast. It does not take any of,
Color preserver?
Color preserver, thank you. So it doesn't take any, what is ours, is Pro Seal. You don't need any of that on top of a metallic. Now, I am showing, this is nylon thread, it's not color fast. I'm just showing the nylon thread here because I'm not putting finish on it, and just because we also had this red spool here at the work desk, I didn't want to go pull something out of inventory because Hunter gets mad when I do that. So, just a word to the wise here though. A lot of these things you see us do tonight, we tend to recommend using color fast or color preserver, because when you choose colors and you pick, you know, accent wraps and preserver. So let's just keep that in mind as we go through this whole thing, because some of the ace rod builders at home might notice that this is regular nylon, which it is. So, all right, let's get this ball rolling here. So I'm on our hand wrapper. Get all this out of the way. All right. Okay. So, as we go through this, I'm going to lay in multiple pieces of thread that I pull off the spool, not thread that I have in the wrapper, because the red is A, this white is A, and I don't know if you can see, but there's the little tag that I cut. I'm going to do my best to keep all my tag ends together. That's, you know, as maybe uncreative or whatever meticulous as I may be, by using, you know, no accent wraps and nothing fancy. I do like to keep everything together. So we've got that, and then I'm actually here for this one. I'm going to use some of the Pro Wrap metallic. This is also size A. This is 9860, so that's a really nice silver. It always just throws in a good short of thread. So I'm going to lock those down with a couple wraps there. So those are good and secure, and then I can go as I see, as needed. All right, so I'm going to lay this white off to the side here first, and I have my silver metallic in the hand here. What I'm going to do is I am not going to hold it alongside the red and wrap, which would give me red to the left, silver to the right. We're talking my left and right. What I'm actually going to do, and this is planning ahead, I'm actually going to duck the silver underneath the red thread, okay? So remember, I've laid these threads in, I've wrapped over top of them already, they're nice and secure. Now I'm going to duck the silver under the red. So I have one silver to the left, one silver to the right, and then I'm going to wrap one band here to show you a one band. Now, here's where the planning ahead pays off. Since your silver is on your left, all I have to do is duck it under the red one time to create a single band. Okay? That, I know it seems counterintuitive to duck the silver underneath the red, but again, that's how you get the one band. All right? That can be used whether you just are getting ready to jump up a guide foot, whether you are wrapping on a ferrule and you want to do one band and then stop the wrap, do your loop, tie it off, or if you then want to keep going, instead of crossing it under that red, hang on. All right, so that was one band. I pulled it back out and we'll show two. So we're going to go under the red, pull it, and I'm laying the red and silver side by side. We're going to go around one more time, laying red and silver side by side. Come back to where all of my tag ends are going to meet. You can see there all my tag ends are meeting at the same place, and I've locked the I've locked the silver underneath the red. So I'm just going to use the old burnishing tool here. Make sure that's good. Make sure the silver is pulled tight, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap some. For those counting, I think that was 4 thread wraps. So now we're going to move to the white thread, and I'm going to show you what would be the olive branch option and how to go about that. So I got to obviously back all this off. So the olive branch option is really just taking this single white thread and going around the red standing wrap as you rotate the blank. So what we're going to do is, as you start this, if you're moving up or down the rod blank, and twist it. Turn it over the top of the red. Twist it and turn it. Okay, I'm going to do this fairly quickly, so those at home, please do not judge how well everything is spent. Twisting and going around. And if you're really good, you're going to end up here where it's tag in base camp. Okay? That's where I want everything to stop. So now, as I've gone around like that, I'm going to put the tension rod. That's how you can make that happen. So now, we've gone around a few times. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to throw in a single silver band, which again, take this, duck it underneath, pull it up, and now I'm going to lay silver to the left, red to the right. We're going to go around one time. Come back here to where all the tag ends are. Make sure that's pulled. Okay. All right, so let me get the clean side here. All right, so you can see we've got some red wrapped in. We've got a double band. We've got half of a olive branch. We've got a single band in the middle. And then what we're going to do is we are going to wrap the other side of it. Now, the other side you can do it two ways, right? So if you see this one here, I've got, these are wrapped over the top both ways, and you can see they're slanted at the same angle, okay? But if you want to look at these guys, those are what it's going to look like when you start over the top and then you finish coming underneath. Those almost give you where it pinches in type of a look. So again, that's up to you guys, but that gives you two options. So here real quick, and you just match the spacing of the one previous that you did. And again, I'm going out and under, over the top, out, whoops, out to the right, under and up. And I'm just pulling these so that they match what is next to them, and then trying to end up at tag in home base. Now, when you do that, I pull this tight, and you need to go around a couple times. So what we're going to do is we're going to burnish, and we're going to stack these in. And I'm just going to pull that a little tighter. So you really won't notice it all that much, honestly. And again, when I do these, they are a little cleaner when I'm not live. I'm just trying to show y'all. So, all right, so now we're back here. We're going to do the whites out this way. I wish I knew how many thread wraps I did there so I could count, but we'll guess. I usually do a 4-2-4 like that. So then what we're going to do is the same thing. Take the silver underneath to lock it. Now we're going to run it side by side. We're going to do two of these. Pull it underneath. And then that's it. So, one last little thing before I finish here. When you take all of these tag ends, because you're going to be left with some, as you can see. This was a tip from the guy that invented this thing. Take these tag ends. You can razor blade them. You can cut them with scissors. I cut them and leave a little bit. And then I take and unwind them because they have twist in them, right? So I take and mash them. So you can see that there. It just looks like a frayed end, okay? So that frayed end, as I wrap over the top of it, it's pretty much flat. And you really don't see that ridge under your thread as much as when it's just a solid piece. So again, I like to do a little reverse burnish there. I don't know if that's a real term. I think I just came up with that.
Yeah, try that.
So then we cut the tags over here. You doctor it up, and I'm gonna hit that every single time. But there it is. Cool. So we did that. Here's the one I did earlier today. And that is going to be a few things mixed in one. It's going to be a double band, which you can extend 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, doesn't matter. You're just going to run them side by side.
Color fast for sure is going to be brighter, because even if you take a nylon and put color preserver on top of it, nylons are just not meant to be, you know, very vibrant colors. You know, color fast has, it's got the, it's already treated with the, you know, color preserver. What do you look for?
Well, I agree with you. And I just want to make sure that we understand the question correctly, because if he says brighter, yes, that is true. Now, the unique part about the color fast thing is that, for example, like this is color fast, and the color is almost like kind of flat. It's like matte looking.
Yeah.
So see, there's the red. Jay, so we have red nylon, which almost has like, I don't know if it's like a shininess to it or a, I'm not sure, but you can, oh, it's like a sheen. A sheen. So there's like a sheen to it where the red is the nylon. It's got a little sheen, and this turquoisey-ish color is the color fast, and it doesn't have quite the sheen to it. So I think you were right on with his question, But I also make sure that, you know, they understand that there is a little bit of there's also a different look.
Right.
You know, when you look at, like this turquoise is 413. If you held a 413 color fast and a 413 nylon next to each other, they are not exactly the same. Mm-hmm. You know, like the color's the same, but the sheen is a little different. It has more of a richness or something. I don't really know. But
they are different.
They are different. But
Bright,
yeah.
Bright's a tough one to.
Well, sure. I wanted to make sure that we covered both ends of it, because you're exactly right.
Good point.
But yeah.
Herb, any benefit to using certain size thread for wraps? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure Chris has been using. You've been using size D mostly,
No, I've
or
been
A?
using A just because
A?
I had it and I didn't want to pull it.
For my cross wraps demo, we're gonna be using D. So it kind of depends. You know that you can use either or.
I would say it depends on like how much you really want it to show.
Yeah.
You know, and you could mix. I mean, if you mixed A and D, you know, it's certainly going to give you a different look, because the D thread is a pretty. When you get it laid down next to A, there's a considerable difference. Yeah. So if you want it to be like raised, or if you want it to like really show a wider, you know, band or something, you could mix them in there. There's really no reason why you can't do that. Yeah. So. Yeah.
All right.
What do you want to give away?
Let's do, all right, so third place giveaway tonight is going to be a trim band creation kit.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So it's going to come with, how many spools is it? 10, 12? 10, 12 spools of metallic?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I can't remember. I feel like, because I pulled one the other day to look at it.
I thought you did.
I can't remember.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you. So anyway, trim band creation kit. The guys will throw the link in there so you can see exactly what you win. And the big winner is Kurt Hampton. The big winner for the third place giveaway is Kurt Hampton. And that is a trim band creation kit. Congratulations, Kurt. Slide in our DMs there. Make sure we know where to send that creation kit, and you can put that to work.
All right.
So what are we doing now?
Let's do.
You're going to move some stuff around. You're going to get prepped over there.
I think I'm going to move this thread over a little bit so everybody can see. I'm going to be doing a cross wrap. You can make them as simple and easy as you want, or you can get into the, you know, really, really time-consuming closed wraps. You know, whether you want to do a chevron or a diamond wrap or whatever it may be, you can spend, you know, some guys spend 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 hours on one wrap, which is awesome.
It's a good way to add value to that build, though.
Yeah. I'm not going to be showing that tonight. I'm going to be showing, you know, your basic cross wrap. We're going to be using some metallic braid from ProWrap. We got this stuff in 10-yard cards and the bigger spools. I think these are 65 yards. If you're doing cross wraps, I would definitely recommend going with the bigger spools, because you do use a lot, you know, when you're doing these wraps. And if you're just starting out too, I was there too, you know, you're going to be using a lot because you're probably going to put a few colors on, you're going to try it out, and you're not going to like it, you're going to cut it off.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that, because it's trial and error, you know, because
for sure.
You got to try out some color combos and see what works. I always recommend contrasting colors.
Always.
To start off with. You know, once you get into, you know, your harder wraps, maybe some chevrons with shading and, you know, whatever that might be, awesome. But just starting out, this braid, it's the ticket.
Oh yeah, it's a cool cheat sheet.
Yeah. So it's actually, I'm going to pull some off here just to show you guys real quick. It's actually flat. It's about 1/8 of an inch wide, and we have it in, you know, solid colors like gold, green, red. And we also have it in these multicolors, which today I'm going to be using, I think this is a black, silver, and blue. Pretty cool little color combo.
And it really makes it look like that you were on it for 2 hours, when in reality you just went up and back with some braid.
You know, some people like to refer to it as like a cheat code to cross wraps, and you know what? I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
This is what we're going to be working on today. So, keeping the theme of, you know, Memorial Day was a couple weekends ago.
That's it.
We got 4th of July coming up. Just get a little patriotic tonight.
A little America.
You know?
Love it.
So I'm using the metallic braids in the middle, as you can see. I've got some color fast red. This is size D. I believe it's 319 was the code. And then on the very ends, on the outside of the diamond wrap, is just one strand of white color fast size D.
807.
807. You got it.
Pulled it today or yesterday or whatever. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you guys how to basically start this wrap, start a cross wrap, and from there, just let your imagination, go free. You can use the braid, or you can just use single threads. You can use multiple threads. It's endless with butt wraps. You can do one in 10 minutes, or like I said, you can do one that's in 20 hours.
Right.
So
well, and I think so what you're about to do is kind of like for any of those that have painted something, whether it's a house, a car, a rod blank. It seems like whenever you paint anything that 90% of what you get out of it is all in the prep work.
Exactly.
If you don't prime it, if you don't sand it, if it's not properly prepped, the result is just going to be like, well, it is what it is. But having, for example, all these tools from CRB are great, but especially this, we've got it specialized. You're going to lay it out exactly. You're going to lay out a roadmap, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So you're going to do a roadmap, and then all you got to do is follow that, finish it off, and it's all in the prep.
Yep.
Cool.
Almost every single butt wrap will start this exact way every single time, and from there, it's on you guys.
Cool.
So what we got here is the CRB. This is the butt wrap alignment tool. We might be giving one of these away.
Why not?
Shortly.
Sure.
In a kit, actually. So
Ooh.
I've got this facing you guys so you can actually see it a little bit better. Normally you would have it flipped around and I would have it facing me, but I'm going to make it harder on myself just for you guys.
So not only do we know how to build and wrap, but we figured out how to do it backwards?
The other way. I know, right?
I'm telling you.
So if this doesn't come out as good, you know why.
Yeah.
Forewarning.
Lots of hours in the basement.
So on our butt wrap alignment tool, if you can see there, we do have a ruler right here on this edge. And I've also got this metal slat. This slat, when it's pressed down, keeps your blank from moving. You can turn it, you can rotate it, but it doesn't move side to side. So what this allows you to do is, now I'm going to go in, for this wrap today, I'm going to be doing my marks at every inch. You can change up this spacing if you want, a tighter diamond, or you can even go with a longer, what's the word I'm looking for? Elongated?
Yeah, elongated.
Elongated
Right.
diamond.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start at 1 inch, and each inch increment, it's a tongue twister.
I was going to say, wow.
I'm going to make a mark with my China marker. Maybe if I tilt it up a little bit. Are we good on the zoom? Good?
You're good.
I mean, we know he's good.
You just,
I want to make sure you're good.
we're all good.
I was going to say, we know J-Boy's got it.
And you can also make this, if you're doing like a split grip area, you can do, 3 or 4 inches, or you can do it up to, the full length. You can do 10, 12, you can do the whole rod if you really wanted to.
Let it roll.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do, actually, you know what, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to keep it at 8. So we got our marks all the way out to 8 inches.
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to turn the blank, or I'm going to rotate the blank 180 degrees. And see if I can line it up here correctly. This is a very important step because if you do not get it exactly at,
I was going to say, sometimes don't you put a mark out here, like a horizontal line?
you can, yeah, usually that would be the smart thing to do, right?
Well, I mean, that's what you showed me, but yeah.
I'm going to go right there. Now when I go back in, instead of at every inch now, well, I'm still going to do every inch. I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch. So instead of starting at 0, we're now starting at a 1/2 inch, and I'm still going to do the same 1 inch increments. Do that real fast. I'm going to go all the way out to 7.5, and I'm going to stop right there. Pull our metal slat up. So now you have all of your marks.
Pretty close. Perfect.
Cool.
Now, I'm going to throw in a little wrinkle here,
Okay.
unannounced, but we had a question that came in today. And a guy was asking, I don't remember his name, but I think he slid in the DMs through Instagram, and he was asking about adding a hook keeper
Yes.
into a butt wrap.
So
You really make it easy when you throw your marks there. Because technically, you could lay in a hook keeper at any one of those marks because you're creating a cross there.
you could. You definitely could. Either that, if you wanted to do it, incorporate it into the butt wrap, you could, definitely.
Right, and I think that's where he was going. I'm not sure, but I think that's where he was going.
Or, once you get your butt wrap done, if you wanted to incorporate, because to close this off on each end, you just do a normal thread wrap, 2-3 inches just to close off each end.
Exactly.
And you always want to do your butt wrap a little bit longer than is necessary, you know? So especially if you're doing, like above your foregrip. So say you wanted like a 6-inch butt wrap. I would probably do at least like a 7.5 inch butt wrap.
Right, because you're going to
That way,
sacrifice a little.
You're going to sacrifice, at least a half inch on each side.
Right.
That way you can incorporate just a normal thread wrap, close it off, and you could also, pop in a hook keeper there or whatever you want to.
Yeah, exactly. That would be another, because a lot of the times when somebody throws in a butt wrap on the butt section of a split grip, you're not going to put a hook keeper just in the middle of your split grip.
Right.
You're going to put it probably right behind the base of that rear grip, and like you said, that would be a great place to put it, right there in that finishing edge.
Yep.
And you could do that a couple different ways. You could, depending on how much depth you wanted to give, and if you're a 1-coat epoxy guy, if you're a 2-coat epoxy guy, you could always lay some finish in to lock everything down. Then you could come back and lay an additional, kind of the bookends, close everything off, and then add it in there too, and then add another layer of finish over the whole thing.
Yep.
So there's a couple options there, but I just wanted to touch on that. A lot of people always ask, hey, if I just send you a question 3 days before the show, are you going to get to it, or can we get? Yeah, absolutely. That's what the new group's for. That's what all of the social media outlets are for. Instagram, any of that stuff is going to be to interact with y'all and to get those questions answered, whether they're live on the air or we answer them right on the spot. So,
Yep.
All right. So I saw you do something there with that tape.
Yeah, I got a little head start. So what I'm doing on each side of my wrap, I'll say about 3/4 to an inch away from the the first marks we made on both sides, I'm doing what I like to call anchor points. So basically all I'm doing is taking 1/2-inch masking tape. I'm going to wrap it around the blanket a couple times, and then I'm going to actually turn it upside down and then do a few more wraps. You can also do this with double-sided tape, works the same way, but masking tape is always on your rod building table. Just easy to use.
You pretty much turn it into double-sided tape there with a twist.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And I also have, I believe this is what, 1/4-inch tape?
Yep.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off about 2 to 3 inch strips, and I'm going to set out about 10 of those, because we'll be using those during the demo.
You okay? You need to eat your Wheaties there. You need
Get
to.
some snips here. Any questions coming in?
I don't know. It looks like everybody's just kind of saying how great you are and not really asking questions, I guess. I don't know.
I'm just amazed. Amazed.
Yeah. They're going, wow, those guys can actually do some of this stuff.
All right, let's do this. So, with my braid, I'm using the card for this one. All I'm going to do is unravel, unravel, unravel.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is get halfway back from coming down, turn around and go back and get halfway there and run out of thread.
Yeah. Usually what I do is, though, with this, I just peel off a bunch of it and just put it to the side.
Yeah, don't cut it yet.
Don't even cut it. Don't have to. Now, if I'm working with like a spool of thread, I usually do, because typically what happens is you start fumbling around on your table and all of a sudden that
spool hits the ground,
yep,
rolls under all these rods I just kicked for the 100th time.
Kick it again.
My goodness.
All right, to start off,
Billy the Bass here is tired of having this done.
since our sticky side is actually, on top of this tape, all I gotta do is press the braid on there. I'm going to wrap it around a couple times and make sure it's snug. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my first starting point, which is that dot right there. You guys can see we're good to go. And I'm going to make sure my braid lays flat. And here we go. Now as I turn this, you're going to be hitting these, what I like to call spots. They're just the white marks you made on the blank as you rotate each time. We go around. Oh, there we go. And as you wrap, you don't have to create like really, really tight tension like I just tried to do. Because for one, you're going to want to burnish this. Since you're involving, you know, 2, 3, 4, 10 different threads. Let's move that over a little bit. You're going to want to have a little bit of, you know, room for error when you go to actually burnish these at the end.
Yeah, because if you lock it too tight, then you've got nowhere to move to fix, you know, not that they're mistakes, it's just when you wrap it around, that thread's going to want to slide a little bit, so.
All right, so after we made our first pass, you'll notice, you know, since we got the sticky side up, all I have to do is wrap around a few times and it's secure there. You can even go back right now if you wanted to, check each mark, make sure you hit the dot exact, because this first, you know, first pass down and first pass back, that's your most crucial pass that you make.
Yeah.
You always want to make sure these are lined up just perfect. All right, so here we go. We're starting our second one. Let me find my mark. See, it got covered up there.
Just means you hit it.
Exactly. All right. And that is the first pass done. Now when I get to this point, this is where our small strips of tape are going to come in. Thank you for that. Keep my stand steady. Even though we still have some of the stickiness on the tape and I can, you know, press that braid on there, I always want to make sure to lock that down, just because the last thing you want is to have that come unwound.
As you're doing that, I'm going to answer this question here real quick. Richard asks, doesn't the rod have a taper that you need before to make the center of the wrap for proper spacing? Way, way ahead of us, Richard. Way ahead of us, bud. So we are taking into account that no one has done this. We're just showing you how to wrap, technically in the butt section where we'll just call that there is no taper. This is just how to set it up, how to mark it, how to lay it down, how to hit your marks, close it off, and stop. You are exactly right. There are times where you're going to have to get a little math involved and adjust a taper, you know, especially in like a mag taper bass blank. There are times when you're going to have to, especially when you're doing a closed wrap where there is no blank left exposed, you will run into an issue if you do not properly space it to account for the taper. So again, yes, you're right. We're not going to go over that this evening, so I apologize, but bear with us on that. We're touching on some of these things just to make sure that everybody can lay it out and properly go there. So
yeah, great question. Just a little advanced.
Yeah, a little ahead of us there. And Eric wanted to know, always having a hard time keeping the thread stuck on the tape. What's the secret to keeping it stuck? Hunters pulled off all these little tiny pieces, so do not just rely on sticky side up tape that you have laid down on the blank. You know, that's a good, you know, place to hold it while you grab a piece of tape and tape it down to it. Use that. Don't just use the back side of the sticky to try to hold it. Definitely just go ahead and anchor it with all those little tiny pieces there that hunters got pulled off. That'll save you a lot of headache in the long run.
All right, so what I've done next is we're going to be using, I can get my thread here. We're going to be using our Pro Wrap Color Fast. This is the 319 red. So playing on the theme of patriotic, you know, red, white, and blue.
Right.
We've got our red. I mean, we've got our red. We've got our blue. We got a silver there. So now this is size D. Back to the question earlier.
Yep.
Would you know what size thread would you use? The reason I'm using size D, and I'm also using 3 strands, is so this will actually be, you know, it'll stick out. You know, it's got a little bit of width to it, and you can use 1, you can use 2, you can use 3, you can use as many as you want to. For this purpose, I just want the red to contrast against the braid, so I'm going to use 3 strands, and it is size D.
Yeah. And it'll go a little quicker too if you don't just pull one piece
Very
at
true.
a time.
Yep. So to get this started, I'm going to be using one of my little tag pieces here. On there. Secure to your anchor spot. Wrap that around snug. And after I actually tape it to the anchor point, I still like to make a few turns on that tape just to be sure it's secured on there.
Yeah, because you'd be surprised how easily you could just
Pull it, yep,
pull it right out from under that tape.
So to get this started, now you can either start on the bottom of the braid or you can start on the top. It really doesn't matter for a diamond wrap, that is. If you're doing like a chevron, you would always want to keep wrapping on the bottom of your braid. That makes sense. So you guys can see what I'm referring to. For me, the top is here. The bottom would be the underside, the side that's closest to me. So for this one, I'm going to be wrapping on the top. Let's get that over a little bit. There. Now as I wrap these, you are working with multiple threads, and you want them to lay side by side flat, just like your braid. So about every time that I hit one of my marks or one of my crosses, I will usually stop, I'll hold tension on the thread, I'll let go with my right hand, the hand that has the tag ends, and I'll kind of just throw it to my side. What that does is will actually allow those threads to lay down flat on your blank instead of being tangled up. Because the more you wrap with it, the more they want to twist and
you're
go
adding
together.
twist to it just for the sheer nature of it, yeah.
So I'll speed this up a little bit for you.
If I really wanted to get you, I'd just step on it.
I know, right?
Wouldn't do that on live, come on.
And I didn't mention, while Chris was talking earlier, I have about probably, what, 10 feet of each thread.
Yep.
Because like we said before, the last thing you want to do is to be halfway down a pass and run out of thread.
Is that what you were yelling at earlier today?
And I was screaming, and that was me.
No. You know better than that.
All right.
You know, this is a great idea too while you're doing that.
What you got?
We've got all these blank pieces. It's always good. If you break a rod, because if you're not breaking a rod every now and then, right, you're probably not fishing. I don't know, maybe.
Every once in a while.
Anyway,
Believe
we
me.
all have a rod that's kind of broke down or something. This is a great time to throw a few wraps on here. This is a great option to test what your nylon thread is going to do when you put finish on it, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Hang on to those pieces.
So when I got down to my my anchor point down here, I did stop, put another piece of tape on. You can simply just wrap a few times around that spot without tape, but rather be safe than sorry. I always put a piece of tape down, that way if something does happen, halfway back down, I can simply unravel it to that spot, and I'll just start all the way over again. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do the same thing as last time. I'm gonna be wrapping on top of the braid. Around here. And, cross wraps you can get really creative with. You can do, you can use metallic, you can use color fast, you can use the braid. You can incorporate so many different colors and options, and plus too, there's so much info out there on how to do different designs, different wraps. And you'll notice too, as I'm going down here, not only am I, kind of fixing my thread each time by making it flat, I'm also using my thumb to burnish it at the same time. Just saves you a little bit of time at the end. And don't be too picky on me. I am trying to do this a little bit fast for you guys, so it's not perfect. Cool. So that is the basics of starting a cross wrap. Now, I'm gonna kind of cut it off there. If you wanted to, like I said, do a diamond wrap, what you would do instead of, that pass down and back, I did on the top of the braid. If you wanted to actually close this in and make it a diamond pattern, you would do pretty much just the opposite. You would wrap on the underside,
Okay.
down and back, and that's gonna close it in.
Okay.
At least close the diamond in, right?
Gotcha.
And then fast forward, if you kept doing that, if you actually close it in with your red on the underside, down and back, and then I incorporated a single strand of white, color fast, on both sides as well, this is what you would end up with. Very simple. I did this wrap earlier in probably 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it has been a little while since I did a cross wrap. So
Yeah.
they're super, super easy to do. You can make them, very advanced, take a lot of time, but or you can spend 15 minutes and come out with something really cool to add to your rod.
Yeah.
That not a lot of people out there would have on their rods.
And the braid helps,
Absolutely.
Braid helps pulling a three at a time or more. And then also, I think you show a good piece there because the difference in what you have here that you just showed us live and what you have there, one strand of white really can make it pop.
Metallic does the same effect too. You would think, one strand of metallic silver instead of that white would really, really set that off.
Right, and it's, when people do different color changes inside of a guide wrap, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's great. But if they throw one band of white or one band of black in there to set those colors off and to separate them, that's really when it pops.
Yep.
So that's another tip to keep in mind there is, pick the colors that you want, roll with that, but always keep in mind that have that solid black or solid white to set it off, to really go from there. So I'm going to answer Ricky's question here. I wonder how much weight that would affect on a rod, maybe on a fly rod. Ricky, yeah, there is a little bit of weight in there. It really depends on how much you're doing, how long that wrap is and how much epoxy. But I will say this. So, if you're worried about weight in a fly rod and all these things, you're probably going to affect the weight of the rod more with what reel you put on it than any thread weighs almost 9 ounces with no line on it. And then you add your backing and then you add your fly line. If you're adding, halves of ounces and quarters of ounces in some thread and some finish, man, you're not going to feel it.
Yeah.
You're just not. And whenever you add wraps and finish and all that stuff, the closer you add it to your hand in the handle or behind your hand in the butt section, if it's not a fly rod, the less you're going to feel it. So yes, if you took that last section, that last 28 inches of the 4-piece fly rod, and you did a cross wrap and filled it and all that, yeah, you'd be like, wow, this is awful. This is heavy and it won't flex and whatever. That's one thing. But if you did a 4-inch wrap ahead of a full Wells grip on an 8-weight, blindfolded you with a reel and it rigged and I handed it to you, you'd never know.
Yeah.
So that's just, that's some things to think about.
Barbara, do you do your packing as you go or when you finish? I would recommend you do your packing after each down and back pass. So for the braid, if I go down and come back, I would stop, make sure I hit all my marks, all my little China marks that I made, make sure those intersect where the dots do, and then I would move on to the next thread. I'd go to the red, I would go down and back and do the same thing. Make sure each you know, each pass is pretty much burnished up next to the one previous to that. And then of course at the very end, you pretty much have to burnish after each pass you do, and then do a final, you know, test at the very end just to make sure everything's nice and tightened together.
Yeah, it's kind of like guide alignment. I don't wrap all the guides and then align them. I do them, you know, one at a time.
One at a time, yeah.
After I wrap.
Whoa, I hit mine that time.
Come on now.
Can you explain how color fast thread is treated? Is it nylon with a coating? That's a good question.
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
that. I don't know the exact answer because each brand is different, but I can assure you we'll find the right answer for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, you know, Daniel will, you know, sorry we can't do that live on the air. I don't know each individual one, how each manufacturer does it, but yeah, I'll be happy to find that answer out for you.
Let's see, Don, does this work on small diameter blanks? Yes, absolutely. The one thing you just got to be cautious with, the blank that I used is, you know, it's a kind of a standard diameter. It's not, what is that you think, maybe like a 1/2 inch? You know, for any freshwater blank, that's going to be about your average size. When you start working with smaller diameter blanks, whether it be like a, you know, ultralight or a fly rod, just think about, you know, you're working with less space. So if you're trying to do braid and then 3 wraps of size D, you might want to go to maybe size A, or instead of doing 3, you might want to do 2 strands. You know, you're working with smaller space, you know, smaller diameter, so you might want to cut down on the thread that you use.
Yeah, good. Robbie, can you wrap over a store-bought assembled rod, or does it have to be stripped down before adding a custom touch to it? If you're talking about a decorative wrap and not a thread wrap over a guide, second that you walk out of that store with that thing, take it home and start, you know, decorating it. Wrap over their label, you know, put a different sticker on it, you know, do a custom butt wrap down in a split handle if there is one, any of that. You do not have to take the finish. I'm assuming that's what you're calling stripping it down. You do not have to strip that rod down before adding some decorative stuff that Hunter's been showing you here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain to do it too.
Yeah, it really is, because you never 100% get it completely clean slated, and yeah, I just start wrapping over it, to be honest with you. You want to give something away?
Let's do it. So, runner-up prize today.
That's the butt wrap starter kit.
The starter kit. So it's the butt wrap alignment tool, which, did you? Yeah,
yeah, I put it down. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Comes with some braid, I think some scissors, maybe a burnishing tool. Anyway, butt wrap alignment tool kit is, what is that, guys? It's really small.
Chris Blake.
Chris Blake.
You're not going to be a fighter pilot, are you?
You know I'm blind.
I know.
Almost legally blind.
Almost legally. I'm surprised that they could get contacts to fit in your eyes.
I feel like I got marbles in my eyes sometimes. They're like, you know, really thick. Anyways.
All right. So that is the butt wrap starter kit, and that's going to be Chris Blake.
Hit it again.
See, now you're kicking them. I'm telling you. The guys want them back
there.
there.
Glue these on the wall or something.
Yeah, that would be a great. Just run up, screw through them.
All right.
All right. Tiger wrap time. Okay, so I know we're keeping you guys late, and I apologize. But this one you're going to want to hang around for. Plus, we're giving away a grand prize. That's going to be a Color Series rod kit and a 17 spool Pro Wrap thread assortment. So hang tight for this. I'm going to walk you through cooking show style how to do a tiger wrap. Now, what is a tiger wrap? Tiger wrap is taking, we'll say, 3 threads. And again, don't fry me on this. If you do a tiger wrap with 4 threads or 9 threads or whatever, we're doing a 3-thread tiger wrap. That's what we're doing. So, we're doing 3 threads wrapped together from left to right. We burnish them one direction, or if you want to burnish, if you want to mark every 90 degrees and burnish 90 degree this way, turn it 90, back this way, turn it back this way, you can do that too. Again, this tiger wrap is one of those deals where it allows you some freedom that gives you wildly different results that you could not duplicate if you did it the exact same every single time. That's the cool part about this deal. So you wrap 3 threads one direction, burnish, wrap 3 threads the opposite direction, then you, after you have put finish down, then you wrap them back that way, then you pull your 2 threads, leaving 1 thread over the top, then you put finish, then you finish off the 2 ends like you do, and then you add finish. So in total, you know, you could get wild if you want to add 2 coats of finish, then wrap, then 2 coats of finish, then end, then 2 coats of... So keep in mind, your Tiger wrap is all about your thread burnishing, and it is about your finish. So if you burnish and then you add finish and then you add another coat of finish, it's just going to draw that depth out, which is, that's really what you want. That's what's going to give you
you got the finish one
pop
over there,
effect.
right?
Yeah, it's almost finished. So we're going to start this thing. So give me a section here. I'm just going to give you, Jay, don't look so disappointed. He was ready to just go right to the end. He's like, oh, cool, it's finished. Woohoo! They do, man, they do. You got to keep them on the edge of the seat, you know. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. That's it.
There you go.
All right, cool. So I've got the 4-spool extension here, and it's fantastic for a number of things, this being one of them.
Wrapping backwards?
And I'm also wrapping backwards. So send the awesome care packages to we wrap backwards at mudhole.com. 400 cane court. All right. So I need to get this last thread under this eye. And of course I've done this like a half a dozen times all week. All right. So we're under here. Got all 3 together and we're wrapping backwards. So again, bear with me. Doesn't really matter, you know, who's first, who's second, who's last. We're going to wrap just like we would start a regular wrap. I go around twice and jump over, okay? I'm going to straighten these out. Get them in there. We're going to start wrapping, okay? So you might have to do a little grab and readjust there. Sorry if I'm blocking you. Again, if this was, you know, right in your wheelhouse, it probably wouldn't do it.
I'm going to turn you just a little bit.
You going to turn me? All right. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so there's the start, right? It's just like starting everything else. Now, there's your start. And of course, once you get everything lined up, you can fly with this thing. And of course, if we had the power on here, it would really be next level. And of course, this thing always maybe gets adjusted, maybe moved. But remember, it doesn't matter because it's all going to be wild in the end. All right, so I'm not going to rut that whole thing because, again, time sensitive. But you can see, that's how we started, that's how we got it. So we'll cut this off. Keep those together, pull this out. Now, this is what finished one, level 1 looks like. So there it is. We started, where's my burnishing tool? Come on, Adams. Thank you. All right. So here's the thing. We started on this end. We wrapped this direction. Now, if you want to, you could drop this in the butt wrap alignment tool, or you could just kind of give yourself, you know, a mark there, turn it 90, a mark and a mark, you know. All right. So what we've got here is I've got my marks, and I'm going to start and I'm going to burnish this direction. Okay. I'm going to give a couple passes. I'm not wrenching on this thing. but I'm just kind of burnishing it that direction. I'm going to turn it 90, and just to get wild, I'm going to come back this way, right? Turn it back this way. Turn it back this way. All right, just do one back, you know, like that. If you go too much, this is what happens. I pressed it on there very, very hard so you can see what happens. This is the last thing that you want to have happen, because that stinks. Just destroy it like that. But again, it's only thread. Pull it off, you're good to go. Now, we have that section. We now burnish it. We're burnished, we add finish, okay? Make sure you add finish to that, because now we're going to wrap over the top of that again. And again, we have the arrow pointing. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. Finish on this. We set it aside. We let it dry. The next day, we're going to come back. We can always know that we're going to wrap back this way. So, fast forward. Here's what it looks like once we have put finish on it, and now we have re-wrapped it. Okay? So we wrap back over the top, and we've wrapped this way now. Okay? So here's what's going to make this thing pop, is you will then burnish again. You can do it the same way you did the other. You can do it opposite. You can do it whatever. Every 45 degrees, change it. Do whatever you want. It's really going to, the black is really what's going to give you kind of that pop and that final texture over the top. So, I have the green and the gold. And I'll pull it real slow. Now you can kind of really see right there in the middle. Yeah. I'm just going to snatch this thing and knock all these rods over and knock the bass off the wall. That's what I'm trying not to do. So, and surprisingly, I came up with a really cool color pattern that looks like camouflage without even trying. Really, what I was doing is I wanted the green for the monies and the gold for the honeys. That's really what I was going for here, and it came out camouflage. So, you know,
Waiting
hey,
all show to say that.
waiting all show. All right, so then all you got to do is cut these off and throw this off to the side. Now, there you got it. Okay. If you want, though, okay, so that you don't accidentally pull the wrong colors or whatever, remember there is a layer underneath here that's the first layer that's got finish on it. Sometimes it's got one layer, sometimes it's got 2 layers of finish. Then we wrap over the top. Whatever thread you're going to leave, with the black thread is what I left, you wrap with that. I used the same other 2 colors that I started with. You don't have to do that, okay? So you could, whatever threads you pull out, you're gonna burn those, so you could just don't have to match, okay? So now we've got that. Then you put another coat of finish over the top of those, and this is what you get. So I'm just going to do the slow, dramatic turn here on
Cue
live.
the music.
Cue the music. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. What is the? It's like the Titanic thing. Everybody's like, everything's better with this music or something. It's like Celine Dion or something. So anyway, cue that up if you got it at home. And then, so what we're going to do now is you can then take some of the green Tell you what, if y'all haven't wrapped backwards, you should really give it a shot. Just give it a try. Turn the heat on in the house in the summertime and just give it a try.
You make it look so easy, though.
Oh yeah. See how far your patience can go. All right. All right. Thread, a layer of finish, a layer of thread, a layer of finish. And if you start, jumping across here, I like to kind of end it on this little ramp right here. So, it'll kind of give it right there at the crest and finish it off. Now again, you're going to come back and put another layer of finish over that whole thing. Some people put 2. So where I did thread, finish, some people do thread, finish, thread, finish, thread, finish.
Yep.
So, depending on what you want this thing to look like, it can get wild. Hand me that one too.
What you got?
Oh, that teal one. So here is just another color option. Something I was messing with. So you can see I got my little arrow pointed. I laid this down. That was my initial. It's the teal, the green, and then the black, and then, so you can, I could do this same one over and over and over. And even here, these two are close, but they don't have the exact same pattern in them. Of course, this one doesn't have finish, but they don't match. I mean, they're the same colors and they resemble each other, but they'll never be the exact same pattern.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to duplicate a tiger wrap.
So that's the cool thing.
And there shouldn't be. I mean, they're so unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had a few questions. You actually answered one a few minutes ago. I believe that's Conrad. Thin or heavy coat on the first layer? I would say thin coat, but you can do multiple coats.
Right. See, I don't use high build for anything. That's just me personally. Some of these heavier rods here, high build is great for that. I'm not a high build guy, but I'm going to use the regular Pro Coat, which is technically a medium build, and I'll put multiple coats down.
Yep.
So, but I don't want to put, whether you use high build or whether you use light build, I don't want to put a super globby heavy coat. The reason for that is the more excess epoxy, which means the epoxy that you really don't, and then wrap over it, or put a thin coat, make sure it's level, put another thin coat, make sure it's good and level, and then wrap over the top. Yourself, speed bumps throughout the way because your finish is not level. So make that finish as good as you can. Tim, I did not use the tension rod on this just because I'm wrapping 3 at a time and I'm wrapping backwards. What's going on with this thing, how the thread comes off and all that. But you could certainly use the tension rod with this.
Yeah.
So that's what we still got it there for.
Yeah, because the 4-spool carriage still allows you to use a tension rod. And it just holds in place.
Yeah, walk away for a minute.
That's where it shines at.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't use it, just like I said, because it's right here and I'm trying to wrap so you could see it. So yeah.
All right, let's do this grand prize winner.
Whoo, man. So we got a color series kit. 7, change it. If you left the gold instead of the black, it'll change it. If you leave the green instead of the black, it's going to change it. So yeah, anytime it's going to change it. The black usually just gives, a really defined tiger, especially on camera, to be honest with you guys. The black really makes it show on camera. You could do the green, it would just and it might not quite be as defined. And we wanted to make sure we showed, the easiest to see. That's why we didn't go with this pattern. This pattern just ended up being a little too dark. So it was the teal pattern earlier. So yeah. Anyway, the big winner for tonight, and then we'll let you guys get out of here, is
Corey Sprayberry.
perfect.
Corey Sprayberry. So you got a color series rod kit of your choice and a 17-spool Pro Wrap.
The tip of, going underneath the thread with your single trim band is big. that'll help a lot of you guys out. And then of course the tiger wrap. That's always one that you know, can bite you. And the
Spray berry, sorry, Corey.
yeah,
Grand prize winner.
fantastic, awesome.
And as always, we got free shipping.
Always got for free as long as you got an order of $99. That's huge.
Yes.
That's big. So you know, big for the customers out there. We really appreciate y'all, and that's why we do those things. Again, thank you for sticking it out with us. It was a good show. I feel like we showed some things. We went through and used some clearance blanks to wrap on throughout this week as we were practicing and showing some of the customers at $9 mark that clearance section. That'll help you get there.
Oh yeah.
And that's, you know, always good to have a spare blank it's good, not that expensive laying around.
Right.
So that's it.
All right. I think that's all we
Cool.
got.
Well, I think we'll see you guys 4 to 5 weeks for the next show. Hopefully everybody's summer we got rolling. I think there's 500 or some odd people in there. We've only had it rolling a few, I think. So get in that new group. And Hunter, I think it's your turn to clean up tonight. So
I don't know about I gotta go.
we probably should get out of here. We got Hot Pockets waiting upstairs. So let's get out of this basement and head to the house. Thank you again, everybody. Taylor, Guffey, J-Boy, Nikki Mintz. You're Hunter McCamey. I'm Chris Adams, and we'll see you next time. Thanks
for
guys.
watching.